Hi, everybody. It's Mary Nack with Compass, and it's Monday at noon. So it's time for my weekly chat on real estate. Normally, I do this with my colleague, Wes Walker, but he's en route, and maybe he's actually there by now, to Austin. Compass is having uh, our first live conference since lockdown in Austin. So I will actually be flying out a little later this afternoon. I'll get in tonight, but Wes left early this morning. So I'm on my own today. And it's actually that time of the month where I do the market update and we look at charts and graphs. So I decided to go ahead and do that because Wes is, as you probably know, if you've been listening to us at all, not big on the charts and graphs, but I am. I'm a geek that way, I guess. So let me share those with you. Gonna get bogged down here in some technology here for a moment and share my screen with you so I can show you what's going on. Hopefully this is working. Okay. First thing is we always like to look at the what's going on with the prices. You can see the bar graphs here. The green is 2020 and the blue is the current 20. And it's been holding pretty steadily, which we're following trends, but we are up from 2020, a good $25,000. This is the whole Chicago metro area. So this is not just a particular neighborhood. This is for the whole Chicagoland area. So we're holding pretty steady. Last month when we did this, I noticed that there had been an uptick, and that seems to be holding. So last year in 2020, you can see that prices actually went down a little bit before coming into spring market and taking off here. So I find that interesting. This is the showings, and the gold bar is 2020. The navy blue, no, I'm sorry, I had that wrong. The navy blue is 2020. Last year, you can see where we locked down and basically showings tanked, of course, because we couldn't show property. But 2021 is the gold bar. 2019 is the light gray bar, and you can see we're basically on trend. So it's kind of it's kind of a non-story. COVID is becoming a non-issue, I guess, with our activity and the amount of showings. This is pretty typical of this time of year. We have a surge in the spring. I mean, we have a very seasonal market in Chicago. We have a surge in the spring, and activity slowly declines until we get to the end of the year, and then come I don't know, it depends on who you talk to, but some say that Super Bowl is the beginning. Once the Super Bowl is behind us, that's when spring market begins. I think it has more to do with the economy and the weather than it does with football, but hey, what do I know? I actually, interestingly, had a conversation with a fellow last week who's in Naples, Florida, and their market's the exact opposite. They're starting to get into their busy season, which of course makes sense because the snowbirds are starting to head south for the winter, and their market is starting to tick up. So I found that interesting that whereas the Chicago market is quieting down and we're getting into the holiday season and it'll be quiet now until the first of the year, their market is actually starting to tick up. But open houses are, going along. Properties are getting rented. Okay, so here's another interesting chart. New listings coming on the market. As you can see, we have, our surge in the spring. This only goes back, now wait a minute. This only goes back 6 months. So we're actually comparing not spring to fall, but 2020 to 2021. And the 2021 is the blue, the 2020 is the green. we're actually not quite as active. We don't have as much inventory as we did in 2020. Isn't that interesting? But it just goes and listings under contract. So, oh, I found this really interesting too when I was looking at these earlier. Let me take this in reverse. Closed listings were actually down. The number of listings that are actually down, that have actually sold and closed, are down from 2020 over 2021, but the number of contracts is up over 2020. So I'm not sure what that means. Seems like a lot of deals might be falling through. that's how I interpret that. I'd like to hear what my buddy Wes has to say about that, but that's how I interpret that. That we have less closed transactions than we did in 2020, but we have more properties going under contract. Interesting. I did something different, a little different with the info sparks today. I actually chose a specific neighborhood, Lincoln Square, because sometimes when you, well, not sometimes, when you choose such a large area, particularly the whole Chicago metropolitan statistical area, it's kind of meaningless for what that means for an individual owner. I mean, yes, it kind of shows a general trend, but I thought it would be more interesting this month perhaps to look at a specific neighborhood. And of course, Lincoln Square is my primary market area, so I thought I would see what's going on in Lincoln Square. And this goes back all the way to 2008. So this is median sales price. And I found this really interesting. Of course, this is when, we had the meltdown in 2008. Well, actually, it's kind of interesting. This is when we had the meltdown, right? The big bank, and there was a dip here in July. I don't know what happened in July, but things held steady. And then we didn't actually see the impact of that for a year. But then, of course, prices declined until we bottomed out in June of 2012. And then it seems like that year we started coming back. Look at this increase here from April of 13 to May. What month is this? June. I mean, it went from, what was this? And February of 13 was just under 500. And here we are. So it went up nearly 100,000 in just those 3 or 4 months. But look at here, in 15, I don't remember this. Pricing declined from 640 in October 14, and then our winter market hit. And here we are in April, down to nearly $100,000 decrease. Interesting. But then here's spring market, boom, back up here in July. Closings that happened in July, of course, would have been properties that went under contract in April or May. And here was our peak in June of 16. Spring market of 16 was our peak. And then we had another decline, and it kind of bumped along here for a while, right around this 650 mark. And then in April of 19, it dipped. And then here again, spring market, we dipped back up to that 650-ish range, went a little above it. And we've never looked back. It's been going up ever since. Here was February 20. We actually had a little bit of an increase during lockdown. So these were properties that were already under contract before we locked down. Then these would be the closings that would have taken place after lockdown. So there was a little bit of a decline, but we went from 700 to, what are we now today? 850, let's call it. So $150,000 increase in that, what about an 18-month period there? Something like that. So I found that those are really interesting. The other things I think are pretty much what you would expect. Lack of inventory, market times, of course, are down. Right now, things are quieting down a little bit. So we're sort of leveling off here. Month supply of inventory. We're not even 2 months supply of inventory right now. There's just no inventory on the market. And the way economists typically read this number is if you have 6 months supply of inventory, it's considered to be a buyer's market. 6 months or more. Over 6 months considered to be a buyer's market. Under 6 months is considered to be a seller's market. But you can see we have not been in a buyer's market, at least not in Lincoln Square, for quite some time. Number of homes for sale. Let's see what we get here. This is also March of 17. The inventory started declining. You know, things got bought up here. Inventory got absorbed. And now we're down to 20 homes for sale. There's 20 homes for sale in Lincoln Square in Chicago. My goodness. No wonder prices are up. There's just no inventory. There's just so much demand. And of course, numbers of contracts are down because there isn't any property for sale. Anyway, not to get too much into the weeds on this, which I like to do, let me stop sharing and come back and wish you all a happy Monday. I'm hoping next Monday to have a special guest on with me because Wes will be gone again next Monday. He's taking a family vacation and going to Mexico. Isn't that nice for Thanksgiving? But I'm hoping to have a special guest who's going to talk about, I haven't talked to her yet. So this is all just kind of in my head. I haven't I haven't even discussed it with her yet, but it's my idea to have her come on and talk to us about a pretty exciting renovation project that she's doing over in Garfield Park. So I hope she's available and I hope you'll join me. If you have any questions about any of the stats that I shared or any other real estate questions that I can help you with, by all means, please reach out. I'd be happy to help you in any way that I can. You can either leave a comment for me on Facebook or just reach out to me directly with an instant message, or my phone number always works too. You can call or text me 773-837-7008, 773-837-7008. Bye for now. Have a good week.